This is a video of me talking about all the famous people that I know who passed away last year in 2023. Yeah, there's so many famous people in today's world, but every year we're gonna lose some legends, but last year, 2023, we lost a lot of legends. The ones that I know or have heard of, passed away last year. It's so sad, and I know I'm a little late to making this video, but I want to tell you all the famous people that I know who passed away last year, and I'll give you some of my favorite moments that I saw, on television, stuff like that. But yeah, I know every year we lose legends, but last year, man, to me, man, we lost so much. We lost too many. So I just want to give you my thoughts on each of these people. And yeah. So you probably heard of some of these. Some of these you probably haven't heard of. And if you want, you can tell me your favorite moments for some of these legends. Alright? So I put them in order of the date of death. I put them in order. So let's start. The first one that we lost last year is Jeff Beck. Jeff Beck was one of the greatest guitar players ever. If you're a fan of rock and roll, I recommend you listening to some of his songs. He's from the old days. Yeah, man, he's that damn good. He's one of the best. Many say he's the best ever. I think he is one of the best. My favorite song of his is Freeway Jam, especially the live version. There's no singing at all. It's just him playing his guitar. It's crazy. I'm gonna put a link in the description so you guys can go listen to that song. But yeah, man, he was one of the best. So next, he passed away on January 10th. Next, Tim McCarver. He passed away on February 16th. He is one of the best baseball announcers of all time. And he used to be a player. I believe he used to be a catcher for the St. Louis Cardinals way back in the old days. Yeah. And I remember watching my first World Series, which was his last World Series he did in 2013 with Joe Buck. A lot of people don't really like him as an announcer. I can kind of see why, but I've always liked him. I've seen some old games, some old All-Star games that he did. I've always liked him. And after he did his last World Series, he became a broadcaster for the St. Louis Cardinals, the team that he played with. He did that for a couple of years. And then I believe he got inducted to the Hall of Fame. Yeah. And then, not too long after he passed away, Joe Buck talked about him on the Michael Kay show. Joe Buck doesn't do baseball games anymore. He's just doing NFL Monday Night Football on ESPN and ABC. Yeah, man, they were great together for a long time. Yeah. Um, I did saw a video. It's kind of like a tribute to him. I'll see if I can find that video, and then I'll put that in the description as well. All right, next we got Bud Grant. He passed away on March 11th. He was one of the best football coaches in both NFL and CFL. I don't know much about him, but I remember seeing a video of him wearing short sleeves in negative 25-degree wind chill in Minnesota. That's crazy. And he was an old man at the time. I think he was what, like 94, 95 when he passed away. So, he lived a great life. But yeah, there's a video of that. I'll put that in the description as well. Next, on April 22nd, Len Goodman. If you're a fan of the Dancing with the Stars, then you probably remember him because he was one of the judges on the Dancing with the Stars. I used to watch that show when I was a kid. Well, I was never really a fan of that show, but I remember watching that show with my parents over 10 years ago, like 15 years ago. And I remember him was the judge, and he always sits in the middle of the desk. The judge's desk. He's always in the middle. Yeah, I don't know much about him. All I know is I remember him being a judge on Dancing with the Stars, and that show's still going on. They have a ton of seasons. It's crazy. And then 5 days later, on April 27th, Jerry Springer passed away. Yeah, that was a big one. Jerry Springer. He had his own show called The Jerry Springer Show. I saw some videos of that. It's a wild show, It's like Maury. It's like the show Maury on NBC, but it's Jerry Springer. I think it's on the CW network, or it was on the CW network. But another show that he was the host of was, I guess it's a game show because this was on the Game Show Network. It's called Baggage. Yeah, there's a show on Game Show Network, or GSN for short, called Baggage. I don't know if that show is still on Game Show Network, but I remember watching like a marathon of that show back in 2018, and he was the host, and I got addicted. It's pretty funny. It's sort of for adults, though. It's not like rated G or rated E for everyone. This is more like, it's sort of more for adults. But man, Jerry Springer was hilarious. And I remember he was on WWE program. Yeah, World Wrestling Entertainment. He was on a WWE show. I forgot what it's called. I think it's called Too Hot for TV. I saw it on Peacock, but it's on there. Excuse me. But I saw a video of him in a promo segment, WWE promo segment. I'll try and find that video and put that in the link, the description as well. Speaking of wrestling, on May 17th, we lost a legend in the wrestling world, superstar Billy Graham. Yeah, I don't know much about him, but I remember I watched the very first SummerSlam from 1988, and he was the announcer with Gorilla Monsoon. Yeah, he's one of those old school wrestlers, man. You know, I'm a big wrestling fan. Well, mainly the old wrestling. I don't watch today's wrestling, but I'm really into the old wrestling, and I've read a lot about these wrestlers from the past, you know, and he was one of them. But yeah, man, he's up there with Gorilla Monsoon in heaven. And then, one day later, one of the greatest running backs of all time, Jim Brown, passed away. And I believe that's how they got the name Cleveland Browns. Is that correct? Correct me if I'm wrong. They named the Cleveland Browns team after Jim Brown. I believe that's the reason why they're called the Cleveland Browns. But he's one of the greatest running backs of all time. That's really pretty much all I know about him, but, you know, I saw it on the list of the famous people, you know. And then, a couple weeks later, we lost another legend in the wrestling world, the Iron Sheik, on June 7th. He's another old school wrestler, and many can say he is one of the best heels of all time. That means, you know, in wrestling, you have a face and a heel. Face is a good guy, heel is a bad guy. And the Iron Sheik has always been a bad guy. He's always been a heel. And I believe his best rival was Sergeant Slaughter. Sergeant Slaughter. Yeah, I'll see if there's a video of them fighting in the ring, and I'll put that in the description as well. But man, the Iron Sheik had a funny voice, man. He did. I watched, if you're a wrestling fan, I watched his Hall of Fame speech. It's pretty funny. The audience was laughing so much. See, that's already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's already 8 legends that we lost last year, and we're not even done yet. This next one was a big surprise to me. July 30th. Paul Reubens, also known as Pee Wee Herman. He passed away too. And that was a big surprise for me. Because yeah, you know, he was what, 70, 71, but he didn't look like he was that old. He didn't. But he was a funny actor and a comedian with a silly voice, you know. I remember I once watched his show called Pee Wee's Playhouse. Man, that was a silly show. I forgot what network it was on. I think this was back when I had cable, I believe. I was just searching through the guide, and then I'm like, oh, what is this show? Pee Wee's Playhouse. Then I just tuned in for a little bit. Yeah. Oh, man. But it turned out he had cancer, but he didn't want to reveal it to the public. Yeah. He never revealed that news to the public. I can kind of see why, because of his character, you know, but dang, man, that was a big shocker to me. There's a video of him and Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, in a wrestling segment. It's pretty funny. I'll put that video link in the description. And then only I believe, yeah, only what, a week and a half later. This is another surprise. Johnny Hardwick, he passed away too. He was the voice of Dale from King of the Hill, the TV show King of the Hill. Man, I watched that show a lot when I was younger. I don't know if this, I know this show, they don't make any episodes of that show anymore, but at the time it was on Adult Swim. And I don't know if it's on a different network or you have to like buy a subscription of it. But man, this guy, the voice of Dale, oh man, was so hilarious. That was a surprise, man. He was only 50 something, you know. And we got three more deaths in the same month of August. So let's get to them. Wrestling related. Another wrestling legend we lost, Terry Funk, on August 23rd. Many will say he will go down as one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time, especially in ECW, Extreme Championship Wrestling, Hardcore Wrestling. Yeah. Man, what a wrestler, man. What a crazy wrestler he was. You know, I watched the 1997 Royal Rumble match, and he was in it. He was in that match. And he was kind of an old guy back then, like 40 something. That's kind of old to be a wrestler. Yeah. And then, one day later, this was the saddest death of all, because he was the youngest of all. Another professional wrestler, Wyndham Rotunda, also known as Bray Wyatt. He was only, what, 36 years old? Yeah. All these other guys were a lot older than him. This guy was only 36 years old and he died. That was, oh, that hit a lot of people. That hit a lot of people hard, man. That even hit me hard. Now, I was never a huge Bray Wyatt fan, but this was the guy. If you're a wrestling fan, this was the guy that should have been on top of the mountain in the PG era. He should have been the one, man. He should have been pushed more. You know what I'm saying? You know, and now he's gone. This is pretty similar to the Eddie Guerrero death. He was only, what, 36, 37? Oh my gosh. And his wife used to be a ring announcer in the WWE. You know, so, oh my gosh, that was tough. That was so. And then the next day, they did a tribute show to both Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt. And that's, oh man, that's so sad. The really sad part about it is that it was more of Bray Wyatt than Terry Funk, because Terry Funk lived his life. I think he was almost 80 years old. He lived twice, more than double Bray Wyatt's life. You know what I'm saying? Because the Bray Wyatt death came out of nowhere. I got a notification on ESPN that saying that he died. You know, it's, oh man. And then just when you thought it's no more deaths for a while, 2 days later, we lost the greatest of all time, the greatest game show host of all time, Bob Barker. Now this one was sad. Don't get me wrong, all of these are sad, but he lived to be 99 years old. That's a long time to live. That's a long time to live. But dude, how can you not like Bob Barker? Seriously. He was the man. And I remember when I was a kid, I watched The Price is Right. And I remember watching his last year as the host back in 2007. I was only like 6 years old. And I remember watching him. Yeah, especially no school on the weekdays. That's what you need to watch. Hell yeah. That was the show to watch when you're not in school on the weekdays. And then I saw this movie called Happy Gilmore, and he was in it. And he had this, probably one of the funniest fights in movie history with Adam Sandler. I'm going to put that in the description, that fight video. It's so funny. But man, he was so close to hitting 100. He would have been 100 right now. You know? But I saw some comments saying, oh, Bob was so close to hitting $1 without going over. You get it? Because $1 on the wheel is 100, and Bob Barker was almost 100. Yeah. But then I saw the Price is Right tribute show that Drew Carey did. Yeah, Drew Carey is still the host to this day. He's great too. But man, there'll never be another Bob Barker. Huh. We're still not done yet, guys. We got 2 more. On October 1st, the baseball world lost Tim Wakefield. I don't know much about this guy, but he was an MLB knuckleball pitcher for the Boston Red Sox for 17 years. But I remember I tuned into MLB Network on October the 1st because it was the last day of the regular season. If you're a baseball fan, you remember this. But then they started talking about this guy because he passed away. And I'm like, wow. You know, they showed a bunch of highlights. You know, he was really good, man. One of the best Red Sox player ever. And then the last one, the last legend that I know who passed away, Bob Knight, on November the 1st. Bob Knight was one of the best basketball coaches of all time. That's right. If you're a basketball fan, mainly college basketball, you probably heard of this man. I saw this one video, this old video of him getting ejected, and he threw his chair across the basketball court. He really did that. This is back in, I think, the 80s. Yeah. I'm going to put the video of that in the description. But, yeah. And that's it, man. How many was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 legends we lost. That's too many. Because the year before, 2022, it wasn't that many. The ones that I know who passed away in 2022, there wasn't that many. But last year, too many. Too many of them, you know? The ones that I know. So some of these guys you probably heard of. Some of them you probably not have heard of. Because there's so many celebrities today. There's so many famous people in today's world, it's hard to know them all. But the ones that I know, too many of them passed away last year, man. It's so sad. But a lot of them lived their life. A lot of them, you know, they were kind of old. The saddest one was Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda. He was only 36. The wrestler, all these other guys were a lot older than him. Bob Barker lived to be 99. He lived to be 63 years older than Bray Wyatt. Golly, man. So, rest in peace to all of these legends, man. Rest in peace to all these legends. Yeah, I know I'm a little late to making this video, but just want to give you my thoughts on every one of these legends, man. Comment below on some of your, if you've heard of any of these people, comment below your favorite moments. Man, it's crazy, man, how time flies, you know. It is. But, yeah. Oh, speaking of Bob Barker, I did a reaction video. It's basically like a tribute video that I watched. You can go check that out. As a matter of fact, you can click right here to watch my reaction video of remembering Bob Barker. Alright. So once again, rest in peace to all these legends. And I hope you guys take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.